I love living here. That's why I chose to live here, man. Hey, well, Dylan, that was really cool.
Yeah, no, it's nice to talk to you.
Yeah. And if you get a chance, leave me a review, man. Those are really helpful, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. How do you
You had it. Push the button. There you go.
All right, thank you.
Elon's way too fancy for us, man. Hey,
Exactly.
I'll see you, Dylan.
Take care.
What can I say? But tips matter. Hi, my name is Levi, and this is the Tip You in the App Daily Drive. Today's Daily Drive is brought to you by Tonquin. Tonquin works just like any other gig app, except instead of delivering people or food, you're going to deliver car parts. Tonquin is great, and let the team at Tonquin know that Levi from Tip You in the App sent you. The Daily Drive is also brought to you by Rideshare.tax. Tax season's over for most of us, unless you filed for some sort of extension. Start preparing for 2025 now. Reach out to the team at Rideshare.tax and let them know that Levi sent you for a 10% discount. And the Daily Drive is also brought to you by VOOM Rideshare Insurance. All right, so BuzzFeed puts out this article asking about who you tip and how much you tip, etc. And it went through the list of people like waitresses and, bartenders, etc. And it had three that really stood out to me, obviously. First was a taxi driver. The next was a rideshare driver. And then the third was a delivery driver like DoorDash or something like that. 83% of the people said they tipped their DoorDash driver. That sounds about right because I know most of us don't even take an order unless we get a tip up front. So there is that. Here's what was really interesting. 63% of the people said they tipped their Uber driver, which I thought was really high. I think those are people saying they tip, but they probably don't. And then 65% of the people said they tipped their taxi driver. And seeing that taxi and Uber were equal, I don't know, that made me feel good as a rideshare driver. But tips really matter. And there's a lot of things going around where people will say you can't count on tips and less people are tipping, and a lot of Americans are against the tipping culture. And I get all that. But what I really want to focus on today is ways we can increase our tips. And at that video, the one where I'm talking to the guy at the end of the trip there, I asked for a review. Now, that wasn't my best effort. Typically, I try to do that about 2 minutes before the arrival, because my theory is this: 1/3 of Americans will tip no matter what. I think I'm in that bucket too. You might be in that bucket also. I just tip everybody. If they ask, I'm going to tip the max. Then there's 1/3 of the people that are just adamant. They're never, ever going to tip. And they sit over here like that. And there's that 1/3 in the middle. I think looking at that data too, 65% or 63% of people say they tip. I think that 60 some odd percent, that 1/3 in the middle, that 33%, they want to tip. They just forget because Uber isn't like any other tip. Think about it. You go to a restaurant and you order your food, you eat your food, a bill comes, and then you're prompted to tip when you pay. Same thing is true with like maybe going to some sort of a coffee shop. You order your food, there's a prompt to tip right on that moment in time. And a lot of us are offended by that, turning the app around. Not me. Turn the tablet around, I'll tip you. But the prompt is always at the point of payment. With rideshare, it's totally different. They go online, they find a trip, and then they order and then they pay. And then the ride happens. And then maybe if they remember when they sign back into their phone, they tip then. So it's incumbent upon us to prompt them to find a way to go back in the app. And I think asking for a review is a great way to do it. Let the passenger know that, hey, you would like a review. When they go back into the phone, the first thing they're going to be able to see is a review and or a tip option. So just prompting them to go back into the app while they're still in the car is a great way to increase your tips. Because again, the 1/3 that are never going to tip you, they might leave you a review, but they're not going to tip you anyway. And the 1/3 that were going to tip you probably already tipped you when they first got in the car. It's that 1/3 in the middle, they probably want to tip you. They just forget. So find ways to prompt them to get back into the app. Here are some things that I don't think really affect our tips as much as we like to think they do. A clean car. I know, maybe even a nice car. The reality is, again, the people that tip are going to tip, and the people that aren't going to tip aren't going to tip. Whatever car you drive probably doesn't affect it as much as we think. I think the way we drive might affect our tip, but I don't think that really matters. I don't think offering goodies really matters. Doesn't mean you should, but if you're going to do that, understand that it may or may not necessarily affect your tips. I don't know. Do you do that? Do you have like snacks or candies for your passengers? I do. I have little lifesavers that I give the passengers. I just think that at the end of the day, tips are going to happen because people are reminded to tip. It's their nature to tip. And I don't think that we can think about people in classes. We tend to think of maybe a rich business person as a good tipper, but I don't necessarily see them as a better tipper than a house cleaner. I've gotten tips from all types of all people, and probably you have too, right? The idea of tipping is just a great chance for us to earn a little bit more money. In fact, I earn about 10 to 15% every single week. So if I make $1,000 in a week, probably $150 to $200 of that came from tips. And so I just encourage you to find ways to earn more tips. Go down to the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's chat about it. What are some things that you're doing to increase your tips and increasing your income? Be well, be safe. I'm cheering for you. Bye.